All right, so the Saints have decided to add another familiar face um, to come play with this team. This time it is uh, wide receiver Brandin Cooks signed a 2-year, $13 million deal with the team, according to NFL insider Adam Schefter. Um, as many of you already know, Brandin Cooks had a stint with the Saints a while back, around 2014 through 2000, I believe, 16, if I'm not mistaken. He played with the team. That was his first team. Coming from college, the Saints took him as a first round pick in the 2014 NFL draft. Was expected to be that next guy, that next game changing receiver for the Saints. Playing with Drew Brees. At the time, it was Brandon Cooks, Willie Snead, Brandon Coleman, big, tall, lanky wide receiver. Marcus Colston was on the way out at the time, and that was supposed to be the nucleus of next solid, legitimate Saints wide receivers. But as many of you already know as well, Brandon Cooks made the infamous "closed mouths don't get fed" tweet, and that pretty much signified the end of his tenure with the New Orleans Saints. And he was traded to the New England Patriots. And for a first round pick, Patriots got the Saints got Patriots got Brandon Cooks. Um, Saints got another first round draft pick, and then that pretty much started the second Super Bowl run era for the Saints from 2017 to 2020, where they got Ryan Ramczyk, Trey Henderson, Alvin Kamara, um, Marshawn Lattimore. There's so many great players. Von Bell. That run started, and Brandon Cooks from that point forward, pretty much Brandon Cooks has had stints in a bunch of places. Went to the Patriots. After that, then went to the Rams, then to the Houston Texans, Dallas Cowboys. But he has been very productive wherever he may go. Wherever he goes, he has been a very productive receiver. If we're being really honest. Take out the feelings of how things transpired in New Orleans. He has been a very productive receiver. Now he may not be the the burner that he once was back in 2016, where he Drew Brees threw that, I believe it was like a 99-yard touchdown pass against the Raiders. He may be not be that guy, but he's still a very capable receiver. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I think he is now in that MVS role, that Marquez Valdez Scanlon role, where he got that third option. You know what I'm saying? As a wide receiver, that depth piece. That's something you didn't have like last year. Because he came along, MVS came along like late in the year. You know what I'm saying? And that's all you had to really throw the football to on that team, on last year's team. Kevin Austin had his moments here and there, man, but it wasn't really nothing to write home about. But I think this is a good pickup for the team. Man. I think it's good for what the role he's gonna play with this team. You're not asking him to be your number one guy. He asking him, he pretty much asking him to be like a number three or number four with this team. Because now you got him, you got Brandon Cooks, you got Rashid Shaheed, and you got Chris Olave, and also you got Bub Memes from who I expect to come back, who's supposed to be coming back next year healthy. But it still doesn't negate the fact that you still need another big body receiver, another dynamic receiver on this football team. Because right now, I mean, if you're really being honest, the Saints wide receiver core is very small. It's a small receiving core, man. Guys like what 6 feet, the average size of the receiving core, the depth chart is like 6 feet 1. I think the tallest guy he got is Bud Means. You go in there and get a guy like at the ninth overall pick, you get a guy like a Tatiara McMillan, Ted out of Arizona. I think he'd be all set right there, in my opinion, at wide receiver. Now, me personally, I think you should. I think wide receiver is one of those positions that you may need to double up in the NFL draft. That's a position where you may need to consider adding more personnel, adding another body to another reliable player to the depth chart at, because last year, you can't repeat what happened last year by, you had both of your top pass catchers go out, and you know, you're pretty much out of luck at wide receiver at the position. Bud Beans dealt with injuries. Kevin Austin showed flashes here and there. And all he had, that caused you to go out there and get a guy like a Marquez Valdez Scantling. Now what's interesting about this is that MVS signed with the Seattle Seahawks for 1 year, $5 million, but the Saints signed Brandin Cooks for 2 years, $13 million. I find that interesting though. Interesting that they did that. So they felt as though Brandon Cooks would be an upgrade over Marquez Valdez Scantling. And out of the two, personally, man, I think with the right quarterback play, I think MVS could do a lot more than Brandon Cooks at this stage. But I mean, both things can be true. But I'm still fine with the team adding a guy like a Brandon Cooks. It shows that you're being more proactive at this position compared to last season. You couldn't get. I mean, Cooper Cup pretty much priced himself out, so this was your next best option. But as I previously said, that doesn't negate the fact that you still need another wide receiver, another playmaker at that position. So there's that. Brandon Cooks comes to the Saints returns to the Saints on a 2 year, $13 million deal. So that's not even a lot of money. I wouldn't even complain about the money that he's making with his team, you know. So there's that. In other news, I want to talk about. I want to segue to this salary cap situation. The Saints have, according to over the cap, Saints now have $33.78 million in salary cap space, due to the recent restructures, um, redone contracts. They have more cap space to make moves. Now, with that being said, who are you? What are you? Why are you using? Why do you have so much cap space? Well, I won't say why, but how are you going to use this cap space now? Because last week was the time to have that cap space, that unlimited amounts. I won't say unlimited, but that extra amount of cap space to use on personnel, because the first week of free agency is where a lot of those big moves were made to add, personnel. But um, there's been theories out there, from various, Saints analysts out there talking about speculating on what this can mean for the Saints. Is because does this mean that they're positioning themselves to make a big trade, add a impact player on defense or offense, or this could be used down the road in the future. Um, some people believe that they're using this money to absorb the cap hit once Derek Carr is no longer a part of this team. Some people believe that. Some people believe that they're using this money to go out there, try to add more players out there, to go out there to add the best free agents available on the market. They've think his name was Tevin Jenkins, if I'm not mistaken, the guard that was being that I think it was released by the Bears, and he signed with the Cleveland Browns recently. So then Michael Becton, he signed with the Chargers. So he missed out on two guards right there that I think could have really helped out this team. So who knows how they're going to possibly be using this money. But yeah, I think, and also people also believe that the Saints are preparing to move up in the draft, trying to make a last minute attempt to sway the Tennessee Titans into trading out of that pick. Now, based on what I've read, is that that's a chance that could be on the table where the Tennessee Titans could move out of the number one pick, the number one spot, if they're offered a Godfather like deal to make the transaction. So now if you do that, remember that Derek Carr, you can trade Derek Carr, but it's going to be post June 1st. Post June 1st is when it could happen. And you got to remember as well that Derek Carr has a no trade clause in his contract. So if he decides to waive his no trade clause in his contract, he is going to determine like where he wants to go. Is Tennessee a place of where he wants to go? You know what I mean? I mean, the Titans could get Derek Carr, and because I'm thinking that if you move up to the number one spot, Tennessee is going to get your night pick. You're probably going to switch spots. Tennessee is going to get your night pick. Probably going to get your second round pick. This next year's second round pick. Next year's first round pick, and possibly next year, year after next, that first round pick. And probably multiple second round, multiple third round selections. It's going to be a lot to sway Tennessee. But they're probably going to want Derek Carr to be part of that package because Tennessee does not have really good quarterback options right now. Brandon Allen, they signed, but we know that that's not a long term option. You know, they had a chance to sign a guy like a Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold. None of those options became. The Titans didn't have any interest in those options. So to me, the optics tell me that the Titans are going to select Cam Ward unless a team comes up with a offer that they cannot refuse. Now, will the Saints do that? We'll see. We'll see how that all play out. But if you're just using this, I think it'd be a smart idea to hold on to this money. Hold on to this money. Um, use it to absorb the dead money that you're gonna incur to pay Derek Carr his money down the stretch, down the road once you finally part ways with him and start to reset the books. You know, this is probably the last year you're gonna see the guys like Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Alvin Kamara, Teron Matthew, Taysom Hill is up in the air right now. I think there hasn't been anything done to his contract yet, so we'll see how that all play out. Guys like maybe Foster Moreau. Um, that's pretty much it right there. The core guys, the older guys, Alvin Kamara, those type of players, Derek Carr. So we'll see how it all play out, man. But I think the Saints are going to stay put at 9. That's what I really think is going to happen. If they can move up and get Cam Ward and add him to this team, add him to this core players we have, I think that would be cool. That would be interesting to see if the Saints get the number one overall pick and take a quarterback because The last time he took a quarterback in the first round, it was Archie Manning, and that was a long time ago. But we'll see. So there's that. Saints got $33.78 million in cap space, and they bring back a familiar face in Brandin Cooks, wide receiver, former Houston Texan, former Dallas Cowboy, former New England Patriot, former Los Angeles Ram. Wide out is now back to his back to where the team he's now back with the team that drafted him in 2014. So there's that. All right, so laugh you off for right now. Give me a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you feel. How do you feel about Saints bringing back Brandin Cooks? What do you think? What do you think is their intention to use their intentions to use the now $33.78 million in cap space on? And check out sportsview360.com for the latest content on the New Orleans Saints. That's sportsview360.com /Saints. Have a blessed day. Peace. I'm out.